Happy New Year! Welcome to By George and More. On today's tutorial, we are going to be going over how to make the zip away tote. And I opted to put in a zipper pocket, and I am using a separating zipper instead of using like a zipper by the yard. But I do have a tutorial on how to add the zipper by the yard instead of adding the separating zipper. I also opted to do the key fob tab, but there is an option to do the lobster claw or just having like a hang tab. So that's gonna be up to you. You also have an option to use a number 3 zipper if you would like, or to use, or just have this section as a slip pocket. So when you're transferring the pattern markings, you'll see that on pattern piece C, there's an option for slip pocket rectangle or the number 5 zipper rectangle. So I'm just throwing that out for you. It's been fun doing this tutorial. I made a ton of mistakes. I put the zipper on wrong. I had to like peel that all off. I forgot to add, items that you needed for materials listed. I forgot to cut the lining base, which was absolutely absurd. Just a ton of stuff that I messed up on. So it's been kind of fun to put it together, and because this is my first actual full-length tutorial. So but I have a newfound respect for content creators and for people who actually take the time to do videos for YouTube. It's just, you think that it's going to be real simple and that it's going to take no time at all to put it all together and to put it on YouTube, and it's not that simple. And so I just have a newfound respect for all the people who've gone before me and who have created sewing tutorials for people like me to learn. And yeah, it's been a fun experience, and whew, so I hope you enjoy it. If you have any questions, just ask in the comments. I'll be glad to answer. I also have the link to purchase the zip away tote pattern. It'll be down below as well. So thanks again. Have fun. Happy sewing. Hey sewing friends, we are going to make a zip away tote today, also known as a ZAT, which is a capital Z, capital A, and a capital T. Here's a few things we're gonna need. Lots of scissors. We've got clips, we've got fabric scissors, pinking shears, we've got snips, and we've got clips, and we've got a rotary cutter, double-sided tape, a lighter. We're going to need a marking pencil or pen, and a ruler, of course. Some things I almost forgot is your tape. I like to use that one I'm putting in my zipper. I have some regular tape and of course some washi tape. This tool is for your key fob tab. You'll need some CA glue or some E6000, and this handy tool, which is my favorite. It is a stiletto and a whatever you call that thing. Oh yeah, a seam ripper. I almost forgot, said nobody. You used it a couple of times, I'm just saying. I made some mistakes in this video, and this is the first of many. You'll need your pattern pieces for sure. This is pattern piece A, which is the bottom main. It is interfaced with self-adhesive Therafuse. Don't forget to transfer your markings from your pattern piece onto your fabric. Not shown here is the bottom lining from pattern piece A. This is your pocket fabric or pattern piece C, and you'll need to transfer the markings whether you're going to put in your zipper, number 5, number 3, or a slip pocket. These are your main and inner lining pieces, also called pattern piece B. Clip your center marks on these as well. This is pattern piece E, which is your keychain strap or key fob strap. There is a lobster claw option or a hang tab option. I chose to go with the key fob tab. I'm doing a zipper pocket for this ZAT, so you'll need a 6-inch zipper and of course your zipper pull. I went with the separating zipper option, so you'll need an 18 to 22 inch separating zipper. There's a tutorial for those who would like to use zipper tape by the yard. A mistake I made while making the video was not to put the zipper tab on at the correct time, so that is why you can see here that I'm using a different type of fabric. I'm going to show you what you need to do with pattern piece E and F. I like to use the iron for this part, but you're more than welcome to finger press if you would like. Fold in half lengthwise and iron a crease in the middle. Yep, that's my big head getting in the way. Do the same with your key fob strap.
Now open it up and fold the sides towards the center seam. Iron and create a crease. Now bring the two sides together and iron again. You'll repeat these same steps with pattern piece E or your key fob strap. Lesson learned here is that I need to absolutely move the bottom base of my iron closer so that I am not putting my big old frizzy head into the shot. Clip the edges in now. Let's take it to the sewing machine. Go ahead and sew a seam down each side of your key fob strap or your lobster claw strap. Sew with a 1/8 inch seam allowance on each side of the strap. Now fold your strap in half. Determine where you would like to put your key fob strap. I like to put mine on the opposite side of the zipper pocket or slip pocket. Make a reference mark 1 inch away from your center mark on the side. Place the edge of your tab on the reference mark. Baste in place with a 1/8 inch seam allowance. This time I've chosen to add a zipper pocket. Make sure you've transferred your rectangle from your pattern piece onto your fabric. You can kind of see it right here, and it's like a silver rectangle. Place your pocket piece wrong side to the right side of the bottom main piece. It should be about 1/4 inch from the top. I add tape to the pocket piece so it doesn't move or shift while I'm sewing. Sew along the marked rectangle. Once the rectangle is stitched in place, let's go ahead and draw a line down the center of your rectangle with a Y in each corner. Cut down the center line, and when you get to the Y, cut in the Y direction, making sure that you do not clip into the corner stitching. Once finished, you'll be left with an opening that looks something like this. Lift your pocket piece fabric and press through the opening to the other side. Depending on what fabric you use, you can either finger press or you'll need to use an iron. You will want the rectangle seams to be completely flat so it'll be easier to put your zipper in. Something like this. Now it's time to add the zipper, so grab your zipper and your zipper pull and go ahead and add your zipper pull onto your zipper tape. Lay your zipper tape and zipper pull flat on the surface. With right side up, take your bottom base and lay it on top of the zipper. You should be able to see your zipper pull and zipper tape through the opening. Line it up with your zipper pull to the right or to the left depending on preference. Then tape on both sides to keep it nice and straight. You don't want the zipper to move while sewing it in place. Sew along the rectangle edge at 1/8 inch seam allowance. Make sure your pocket piece is out of the way. Alright, check your zipper to make sure it's working correctly. Clip the ends of your zipper, and now let's finish off your pocket. Fold the bottom edge of your pocket all the way up to the top edge and clip in place. Sew only the pocket piece, do not sew the pocket onto the base. You can see here that I am actually pulling the base up and away from the pocket. Sew as close as you can to the rectangle, approximately 3/8 of an inch. This step is completely optional, but to reduce bulk, I go ahead and trim down my seam allowances with my pinking shears. I have chosen to add a separating zipper to my Away Tote, but if you'd like to use zipper by the yard, I do have a tutorial that shows you exactly how to do that. There is also a tutorial on how to add a zipper pull. Separate your zipper into two parts. Add a 1/2 inch reference mark to the left and right of your center marking on each side. This will be your beginning and ending point for your zipper on each side. Make sure the bottom main and the separating zipper are right sides together. The coils of your zipper should be facing the middle. Start at the 1/2 inch mark and begin clipping or pinning your zipper to the edge. When rounding the corners, snip into the zipper tape about 1/8 to 1/4 of an inch. This will help the zipper tape lay flush with the bottom main as you round the corners. Continue pinning or clipping all around the edge until you get to the center mark on the opposite side. With the end of the zipper tape laying against the edge, Line up the edge at the center mark. Mark your zipper tape a 1/2 inch from the center and then cut your zipper tape at the center mark. Now we will repeat all of the same steps on the opposite side, cutting small snips at each corner, adding your reference mark a 1/2 inch from the end of the zipper, and cutting the zipper at the center mark. Uh-oh, things are starting to heat up in here. Now it's time to pinch and tuck your ends. At the 1/2 inch reference mark, you will pinch. When you pinch, it will naturally curve to the outside of your bottom main. I use a flame to seal this edge here, but you are more than welcome to stitch it at the sewing machine or glue it down. I find the flame method to be the easiest for me to do. When you are done pinching and tucking, go ahead and clip both ends in place. Before you attach the zipper, go ahead and tape down your zipper pull so it does not get in your way. Now it's a good idea to grab your sharpest scissors and clip into each corner, not beyond the stitching. This will help each corner to lay nicely when it is zipped up. Once you have all of your corners snipped, then go ahead and practice opening and closing your zip away tote to make sure that it is lining up nicely. Go ahead and set aside. We are now going to work on your main lining and your inner lining, which is pattern piece B. You should have 2 for the main lining and 2 for the inner lining. Place your 2 main lining pieces right sides together and clip on the short sides. With your inner lining pieces right sides together, take a fabric marking pen and mark a 4 to 5 inch opening on the short side of one of the pieces. On the shortest sides, make sure you pin and clip in place. Make note that the widest part of this panel should be at the top and the bottom. With a 1/2 inch seam allowance, sew your lining pieces together. Backstitch well at the 5 inch seam opening. Repeat with the main lining panels. In this tutorial, I'm showing you how to add pre-made straps. I do have a tutorial that shows how to make your own straps. Make a 3 inch reference mark on the right and left side of your center mark. At one of your reference marks, add the raw end of your strap to the raw end of your fabric. Do the same thing at the other reference mark, making sure that your strap is not twisted. Do the same to the opposite side panel and take to the sewing machine to baste in place. Now it's time to add our bottom main to our main lining. I first like to trim my seam allowance so I can reduce the amount of bulk inside of my zip away tote. When trimming my seam allowance on the inner lining, I do not trim at the side seam opening. This makes it easier to close up the side seam when we're done birthing the bag. A couple of things to remember when attaching the main lining to the bottom main is to keep your main lining and your bottom main right sides together, and to make sure your quarter points match up on your main lining to your bottom main. This will ensure that the main lining fits nice and snug onto your bottom main. Pin or clip in place, snipping at the corners to create a nice fit. Continue pinning or clipping until your main lining is attached to your bottom base. Now let's take it to the sewing machine. Attach your main lining to your bottom main with a scant 1/4 of an inch seam allowance. Now we will attach the bottom lining to the inner lining panels. They will be attached the same way that we attach the bottom main to the main lining panels, except we will use a 3/8 inch seam allowance. Alright, we're getting there slowly but surely. Okay, it's time to attach your inner lining to your main lining. Go ahead and turn your main lining until it is right sides facing out. Your inner lining will be wrong side out, and you will place the main lining inside of your inner lining. Your fabric should be facing right sides together, and your straps should be sandwiched between the main lining and the inner lining. Match the seams in the center marking of your main lining panels to the seams in the center markings of your inner lining panels. Pin or clip in place and proceed to the sewing machine. Sew with a 1/2 inch seam allowance. To reduce bulk, I trim the seam allowance at the top of the bag, and I also trim the seam allowance where the inner lining meets the bottom lining. This is completely optional. Now it's time to birth a bag. Find the side opening in your inner lining and pull your bag through. After you've pulled your bag all the way through, locate your side seam opening, pin it or clip it, and sew it together with a 1/8 inch seam allowance. This would be a good place to add a bag tag if you would like. Now tuck your inner lining inside of your main lining and press with an iron. Then you will top stitch with a 1/4 to 1/2 inch seam allowance all around the top. Now we're going to top stitch the base. It is optional, but I really think it gives it a nice clean look. Pull the inner lining out of the bag and head to your sewing machine. The trick to remember is that the seam of the zipper should be tucked underneath the top stitch. You'll sew along the edge of the bottom base at a 1/8 inch seam allowance. Be careful to go very slow around the corners and to make sure that your main lining is not caught underneath the needle. When you're done top stitching, you'll be able to tell how the zipper now curves towards your lining. Ooh, it's really starting to look good. I opted to add a key fob to mine, so let's do that here. I like to use a CA glue, which is like a heavy-duty super glue, but you can use E6000 if you would like. You can see that I have positioned the key fob hardware into the jaws of the tool. Add your glue into the hardware, position on your tab, and give it a good squeeze. Let it dry for about 5 minutes. If you're using E6000, then let it dry for at least 15 minutes. Go ahead and check your bag to make sure that there are not any loose threads. Alright, let's fold her up. Place your bottom base flat on the surface. Fold each side in towards the middle. Flip the lining panels down 1/3 of the way and then back up 1/3 of the way. Fold in half and go ahead and zip her up. Alright, let's see that again, just a little bit slower.
What did you think? Not too bad, huh? I really feel like this is a good pattern even for beginners, maybe an advanced beginner, especially because I think anybody could reach out to me and ask me questions. I've helped several people on Facebook Messenger just get through some, you know, little humps here and there to finish the pattern, and most of them have been beginners. So I was hoping this pattern would be for beginners so that I don't know, just kind of once they master it, they just feel good about themselves. Because I remember what that was like to make my first bag, which was the little tiny boxy, itty bitty boxy bag by Oakland Roots. That was my very first bag. And I just thought, man, I just sewed a bag. And it was the most amazing thing. And then I made like 10 of them that week and gave them out to people because I thought that's the best thing ever, because it was. So I hope you enjoyed it. This is what we made. Yes, I made so many mistakes, as you can see, which is why in the actual video I show this when I'm putting the tab on, because I forgot to show it on this. But yeah, it's a fun bag. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Thanks again for being a part of this this journey with me, and I'm glad that you came on board to sew a zip away tote, a ZAT, and yeah, so don't forget to like and subscribe. You know, I gotta say that. Anyways, thanks again.